What's poppin', y'all? Welcome back to another YouTube video, and today we're taking a look at another film review, and today we're taking a look at the Barbenheimer of 2024. Barbenheimer was obviously a collaboration between Barbie and Oppenheimer, which were the biggest two movies of 2023, and everyone was memeing about them because they both came out on the same day. It was two opposite movies on the opposite side of the spectrum, and they were putting them together as a meme. A couple of people have memed about these two coming together, but it's not like taken off or as big as Barbenheimer. I've seen like very few people talking about it. I've seen like 4 posts about it, and it is all because in Deadpool and Wolverine we had Ryan Reynolds, and in It Ends With Us we had Ryan Reynolds' wife. So that is the only reason that this movie is being sort of put together. It didn't come out on the same day. It came out within the same month, but it didn't come out on the same day like Barbenheimer did, so I don't really get the memes or the jokes. But without any further delay, let's get into what Google has to say. So, It Ends With Us is a 2024 romance drama, which is 2 hours and 11 minutes. It didn't need to be that long. It is a 6.6 out of 10 IMDb and a 57% Rotten Tomatoes. Lily Bloom moves to Boston to chase her lifelong dream of opening her own business. A chance meeting with charming neurosurgeon Ryle soon sparks an intense connection, but as the two fall deeply in love, she begins to see sides of Ryan that remind her of her parents. When Lily's first love, Atlas, suddenly re-enters her life, her relationship with Ryle gets upended, leaving her with an impossible choice. So, this movie starts off and very much flicks backwards and forwards between the past and the present. So I'm going to quickly run through the past story before we get into the present. So in the past, when she was younger, a boy from her school had like parents which were fighting and arguing, and the mum kicked him out because obviously they were arguing and he got in the way, and he got his hand cut into a Y shape, so he now has a Y sort of cut on his hand in like a pretty bad scar. She sort of gives him food, feeds him. He was going to commit suicide, but she stopped him by giving him food and sort of looking out for him. And, you know, they start to form a relationship. They get together, they kiss, they fall in love. Her dad beats the shit out of him. He goes to the military. They never see each other again. And her parents were also very abusive and fought each other all the time. Had lots of arguments, and they were very forceful. Mainly the dad. It was definitely the dad. The dad was very forceful onto the mother. And the mother just didn't leave, and she stayed with him until he died. And that's where this movie picks up from in the future. It is her dad's funeral, and she's supposed to say 5 things which she loved about her dad, and she's got nothing. She can't think of anything that she likes about her dad. She can't think of anything that she loves about her dad. And she ends up just walking out of the funeral and opening her own sort of flower shop. She opens the sort of doors, and Ryle's sister starts working for her because she comes in and wants to help out in the flower shop. She needs a job, so she comes in and gets hired pretty much instantly. They redecorate, they redesign, and Ryle, you know, enters the life, and he enters the life in a pretty weird way. He throws a chair around and gets angry and like barges the door and starts breaking shit whilst they're sat on the roof. They start to fall in love, and it continues through a love montage where they're going to karaoke, going to bowling, and they end up falling in love. They're getting together, they get married, and they sort of, he's giving very bad vibes, and he's giving a lot of red flags, and I don't know why she isn't seeing them, like, straight off the bat. The way they first met was him in an angry fit of rage. Like, he threw a chair, he broke it, he slammed open the door, he kicked open that door, and he was very, very angry, right? And then we see him do loads of other sort of little things which aren't very good. Like, he checks her phone all the time, he's very insecure, he's very sort of flirtatious with a lot of girls, he hasn't held down a relationship for long at all, and he burnt his hand and hit her across the face because he like retracted his hand and slapped her, and she had a black eye. He pushed her down the stairs when they were having an argument, and all these things sort of leading into bad things. And her friend, who like she meets by going to this restaurant with her mum, because they were introducing like husband to the mum, and they also go again when their sort of sister is pregnant, and they see Atlas there both times, and Atlas gets angry with the marks and the bruises that she's got on her, and he does a low blow saying, you don't want to end up like your mum, or you're just going to end up like your mum. And they come through, and they she works out that he is actually a bad guy, and he tries to force himself onto her, and he goes to his house, Atlas's house, and she lives there for a bit. She goes back to her mum's house, and she finds out she's pregnant. She has the baby. Atlas helps with the baby for a little bit, and so does the dad of the baby, and he then gets a divorce with her, and they never speak to each other again, and she gets with Atlas at the end of the movie. I'm pretty sure I messed up the timeline a little bit there. I got a couple of things out of order, and I did say that it kept flashing backwards and forwards between the flashbacks, so stuff did happen maybe slightly differently, but again, that just means you have to go watch the movie for yourself to check it out and make your own opinions. And I'm going to be honest, this movie did not need to be 2 hours long. There is loads of things they could have cut out of this movie, and that they didn't need to go into detail about, and that they didn't need to sort of sit too long on, and they did handle the serious situations of the domestic abuse very well. They took this very serious topic, and they didn't try and romanticize it. They didn't try and sort of make it a comedy. They took it as serious as it was, and that was quite a shock to me. I'm going to be honest, I didn't think they would take it as seriously as they did, and they gave pretty good advice with the situations, and they obviously showed the struggles of not being able to leave that situation. Like, obviously everyone's advice is just leave the situation, get out of the situation, but sometimes it's easier said than done, and it showed the struggles of that quite well, and it showed the manipulative side of it as well, of like why they can't leave, why they feel like they're being sort of forced to stay, but it's like their own choice to stay, but they're not, it's like being forced to stay. And you can see like every little detail about it and how he's changed it, because when she realizes and when it all clicks in her head, it all twigs and it takes us back through everything that he's done, and it shows us it in a different way. He never actually burnt his hand, he just hit her. She didn't fall down the stairs, he pushed her. Like, we see all these little details, which is like subtle camera angle changes, which sort of give us a different perspective on the scene that we saw before. And it is a very serious movie. It is quite a sad movie, and it isn't a very good feel-good movie. Like, it doesn't make you feel good watching it, and I didn't enjoy this movie, I'm going to be honest. I think it's a very interesting topic, and a very serious topic, and one that does need to be talked about more, but I just didn't enjoy this movie. It was quite a slow-starting movie, and the stuff that happened, I'm going to be honest, from the lies we were shown at the start, I didn't think, like, he was that bad. I was like, oh, he burnt his hand and he pulled it back, fair enough, that was an accident. And at the start I was like, yeah, that's an accident, that's fair. Where does it come into it that he's like a dickhead? And then once it does get shown, and once he does become a dickhead, it all becomes clear, and it's like, oh shit, he was bad. It was like, he wasn't good. Like, the movie was showing him in a good rose-tinted glasses light, because it was her perspective, it was her telling the story, and I liked that. I thought that was a cool twist, but it was a pretty big drag to start with them falling in love. Like, they took a long time to get them to fall in love, and they spent a long time setting up this flower shop, and the flower shop didn't get much screen time. I'm gonna be honest, the flower shop wasn't that important to the story. Like, it was a good place for stuff to happen. Yeah, it got the girlfriend, like the boyfriend's sister, to get into the life, but other than that, it didn't really do much to the plot, and they spent a fuck ton of time in there. Like, other than the opening of the flower shop, they did not need to spend any of the rest of the time in the flower shop. Like, that was just pointless, and the movie could have done quite well without the flower shop. Like, it's just so much, like, dragged out scenes, and it just felt really long, and I got bored, to be fair. The ending was really good, the ending was really impactful, how everything came together in the end was really nice, it had a nice sort of bow to wrap it all together. But throughout the full start of the movie, I was bored, and I was watching it, and I was not enjoying it, I'm gonna be honest. The ending is what made the movie for me. Like, the ending and how she stood up to him in the end and how she got with the other guy, which I wanted her to get with anyway. I was rooting for that other guy. The other guy was quite handsome, to be fair, and it was like the love of her life when she was a kid. So it's like I wanted them to get together. I was rooting for them. I was rooting for him. Like, he deserved a happy ending. He deserved a happy ending, and she gave it to him in the end, which is very, very good.